Hey everybody, what's going on? JEDIOSHI here. Thanks for tuning in to a special Saturday edition of JEDIOSHI's Charts and Charts and Charts. Hey, before we get in, like the video, share and subscribe what we're doing here at JEDIOSHI. We're trying to teach people to learn to read charts, take action for themselves, and to become traders. We have another, this is Bitcoin, we have another red day. I'm sure we're all well aware of that. And we've been very active in the Telegram today. And one of the things that, I keep mentioning or keep saying is that, guys, this is what you expect at a bottom. This is fear. This is panic. This is what's happening. This is everything's crashing. Everything's going to zero. This is, the lights are going to turn off. It's game over. And I'm here to bring you some charts and analysis and to try to present some information that I know can help with a lot of the things that either the emotions that you're feeling or the things that you're seeing. I know I go on Twitter, it's pretty toxic, but because everybody loves to hate on the Bitcoin people, and of course it's going to zero, right? But as traders, we let signals guide us in our actions. We let our systems guide us in our actions. We let our process guide our actions. The more that you can eliminate emotion from your trading, the better you will do. The more you can trade without fear, the better you'll do. So this is where we keep a level head. This is where we look at the charts and we understand what's possible, what's probable, and then how to position. Right? So let's look at this. This is the 4-hour chart. Obviously, over the last couple of days, we had a kick up to 43K, and it's been nothing but red since. We had a little stall at 39. But here we are at 34.5. Down again. Alts are even more beat down. We're going to look at a couple alt charts here. But, this is pretty brutal to watch, especially if your expectations are that you're just going to go up. Right? So when you look and understand where your emotions come from, a lot of times it's because you have expectations and there's a gap between the reality or perceived reality to what your expectations are. So the sooner that you can learn to develop and build a trading system, a set of rules, I believe the more objective you can stay with market action in both ways. Because we just talked about how fear, anger, panic, depression, all those kind of emotions, they are the markers of a bottom. And conversely, you have euphoria, excitement, everything's great. Those are markers of a top. All right, so go back to even as late as October, November. How are you feeling about certain things? How were you feeling about SHIB running to 9,000? How were you feeling about some of these others? Those are the emotions of the market. And today we're feeling the red emotions. So I just want to, again, show you a couple things. This is the 4-hour chart. We broke down this range. We are massively oversold. And one thing I want to show you was, well, that's the fractal. We'll look at that. Levels. We've talked a lot. It's in every video this week about potential levels to watch on the downside. We had 36. 36 was a high point of this area here. I think on the weekly chart, it comes in at 35.5. We also have this level at 32. So keep an eye on that weekly pivot here, this weekly candle pivot. We could come down and see 32. And then if you go back to, I'll just switch this to daily, go back to this level, it's at 30. So these levels are still in play. We could definitely sell off, this week if equities have to have further downside as well. All markets continue to sell off early next week, possibly into the FOMC comments or meeting, and we get some relief. And I believe that once we find a bottom, we will get a retracement. We will get a correction back up. The excitement will return. Alts will outperform Bitcoin. And my thoughts on that, what that looks like. that turns up from, either here or 32 or 30, and then we move up again. I do expect alts to continue to get beat up harder than Bitcoin on the way down, but perform better than Bitcoin on the way back up. So if you're looking for deploying fresh capital, new powder, as for me, I'm waiting. I want this market to give me a signal, just like it did at the top. Look, this is a signal in my system, and I'm going to teach you guys this over time. Higher high, lower RSI, break this trend, you're out. That's a short. Okay, for my signal, for my system, that's a short. Okay, let's go back to summer time frame. All throughout this correction, this was a fake out, unfortunately. But into July, you broke this trend, you broke RSI, you're moving up again. That for me is a signal. You have some really wide divergence. Again, this didn't help because it did provide a signal in there. Just something you have to be aware of. The higher the time frame, the more quality the signal is. The stronger the signal is, the less noise there is. That's why when I start trading down to 5 minute, it gets really noisy. So I've shifted to 15. And matter of fact, moving to 1 hour just to get better quality signal to noise ratio. So look at this RSI bounce here. And again, yesterday we looked at these correction patterns where you have a drop and you move back up and then a bleed. And then a final spring up, you break trend and bulls take control and you're on your way. So I'm looking for something like this. I'm looking for something like a break in trend and a break in RSI. That's a signal to me. So what do we have here on RSI? And again, this is daily, but I wanted to show you what this might look like and what I would expect to see for a signal. So what I would expect is some sort of, now we are pretty cooked on RSI at 12 on the daily. These markets are oversold. S&P's oversold. NASDAQ's oversold. Everything is locally very oversold. Does that mean we have to go up? No, it doesn't mean we have to go up. But does that mean that, there's opportunity on the buy side to catch a relief bounce? I think so. At some point. So watch how I draw this. If this is our low, I would want to see something like this. Across a move up here, across, and possibly a break of this trend. That's a little bit early for my system at 25. But when you combine it with price, so let's take a look at what price might do. Given this RSI track, if we get a high on RSI, it can be coupled with a lower low in price. So let me just start with a clean slate here and start it over again. This RSI might very well provide us some divergence with an even, yes, a lower low in price. So here's that, right? And then it bounce up. So my signal and what I'm waiting for, just patiently waiting, just waiting for the market to do what it's going to do and find a bottom. And if I can only be long and holding assets here, then I wait for this signal to tell me, okay, there's your signal. Take your entries. Now, I didn't catch the lowest low, but I'm trying to catch trend. One thing to note here is that this doesn't have to just V out. Sometimes you don't move from a downtrend immediately to an uptrend. So that we may have to go through a period of reaccumulation. And it may look something, again, we go back to the summer fractal. We had a big fall, sideways, fake out, dip, up, bleed, bounce. I think that's, it looks very Wyckovian, right? But if you look at this, are we just going to V out? We might. And I'll show you a fractal from the 2018 bear market that could be close to what we see here. But do we have to come down here, bounce, put in a higher high on RSI, show some strength, break the trend, and then we get some sort of a retrace up here? I apologize, I always cloud up the screen here, but You know, is that what we see? Either way, guys, I'm waiting for a signal here. So if we're just trying to catch bounce, catch drops and everything, like I did all that stuff up here. You know, I caught bottoms up here, and you know, catching bottoms is fun until you run out of dry powder. So I'm gonna wait. I need to wait. I'm gonna let this market tell me what to do with my, you know, again with my system and signals. So that's my my look on the Bitcoin outlook. I wanted to, we showed you the daily RSI. Let's look at weekly RSI. Again, I mentioned this in the Telegram, but this weekly RSI sits at 29, and we have not seen lows since the COVID crash in March of 2020. And I remember this drop. It was scary because, you know, Bitcoin was going to zero. Of course it was. And so, and then before that, we had a package of low RSI, you know, in the bear market. After we fell off this ledge, don't forget. After we fell off this ledge, we made a low, and then we had a bottom for a while and come out. The COVID crash was a V, kind of more of a V bottom. We have a drop and then followed by more of a 45-degree line. But I pulled some data from the 2018 period, and let's look at that real quick. Let me zoom out first, and I'll go to, I pulled this pattern using the bars tool. I pulled the pattern from, this is post the peak after the 702 retrace, and then the following drop in this time frame. But when you overlay the current price action, you get an amazing match on this fractal. I mean, look, I even started it back in September. So I caught the rise with the fractal, and then I dropped it, right? It just overlaid the data, and you can stretch it. You can stretch a little bit, but look how well it matches. You have a high, you have a higher high, and then you have this bleed at about a 45-degree angle, bleed for quite a long period of time. You finally catch a floor. The fractal floor is here at 32, which is my basis for, you know, there's a scenario that this market just moves up from here. If we follow the fractal, we came down in this area, this region, we completed the fractal pattern. We may go sideways for some period of time. We may go sideways to early February. That could be 2 or 3 weeks, and that would be painful, just sideways. Everybody's going to be calling for, you know, lower and zero, everything. But then again, we broke the trend. See that? We broke this trend. We came back up, retested. See that? Breakout, retest, back up to 618. So interesting fractal, huh? If this repeats, once again, like we've said over and over and over, once we find a bottom and we start moving up, I do expect alts to do a lot better than Bitcoin here. Are we going to get a full-blown alt season? I don't know. Honestly, I hope so, but the momentum in this market, it's been sucked out. It just really needs to return. So we'll see. But I do expect alts to do better here. But again, as we said a million times, we'll be watching this level like a hawk. And if we get some nice levels when we get over into here, and this starts breaking down, I'm out. I'm out. This would be April, 1st of April, maybe. So yeah, if this fractal plays out, we could see bottoming until early February and until we finally move up again, retest of a breakout line, and then move up maybe February, March, you know, for up, almost up only, whatever you want to call it. And so we'll see. But I thought that was a very interesting fractal to show you. Let's take a look at a couple of alts. I wanted to show you 3, but my idea had broken down since last night. This is CRV. We're going to go to the daily, and I want to turn on the, well, I guess I have to add it, but I'm going to add the 200 daily moving average. The 200 daily moving average is one of the strongest indicators. I don't use moving averages a lot, but because my system is a lot more for trends and following trends and and identifying trend turns. But as a, for market analysis, the 200 MA is very strong indicator. The 50 MA is very strong indicator. And so, it's definitely one to watch. So let's look at last night before the daily. We were bouncing off the 200. And I had 3 assets I wanted to bring to you to look at potentially buying at the 200 moving average, but we've since broken down. So this is broken down. However, I think that the 3 I'll talk to you about, CRV being one, you have an uptrend. It's a pullback in an uptrend. And this trade or this asset, I think, it's a relative strength asset. And this is different than playing what's called a reversal. A reversal would be something like waiting for, one of the classics to turn around and to get some momentum. CRV already has uptrend momentum going with it. It was showing relative strength even while Bitcoin was bottoming. It was making highs, especially relative to Bitcoin. And I think it could be a good, for a quick mover, once Bitcoin does bottom and find an uptrend. I would expect this to be one of the first and best and strongest movers. CRV would be number 1. Number 2 would be Avex. It's the same thesis, guys. Look, strong uptrend, pull back in an uptrend. It could make for a great trade. I don't know why this is Avex market cap, but let's do Avex USD. It's basically the same chart. I'm not getting all the data here, but okay, Avex is the second one, and you can see, again, we broke this 200 moving average. A little concerning, but when Bitcoin finds a bottom, and if Bitcoin, money returns back into the market, people are going long again versus all being short, then I think Avex is another good opportunity. It's had relative strength, it's in an uptrend, and you're buying a pullback. Now, how far does this go? I think this is where you look at your levels. There's 36. Do you stop here at this area? Really it depends on what Bitcoin does. Okay, the last one is Matic USD. And we go to Coinbase, it's fine, I think, yeah. Same chart, guys. Uptrend, you're buying a pullback in an uptrend. We're going to drop to, look at this, almost the same chart. Look, these levels at $1.47, these levels at $1.04. If Bitcoin goes to 30, you better expect something like Matic to drop here at $1.06, in my opinion. And then I think it'll continue a nice trend up with relative strength, and you'll have to manage that with fibs and target levels and that sort of thing. But that's about all I had, guys. I would just wanted to do a brief update, show you that fractal work. Again, talk about our levels that we're watching on the downside. We covered it many times, but it's always good to be looking at those. But yeah, short term, I think that the direction remains down, until we can find support. So hang in there. I think we're closer to the end of this than we are the start. I repeatedly say this is when everybody gives up. People just can't take it anymore. And people are believing we're going to zero, so they're going to sell. And we all have to do what we have to do. So if that's what you have to do, do it. You have to learn to take responsibility we all have to learn to take responsibility for our portfolios. And so I'm here to help you do that, because I'm doing that with myself as well. So that's a wrap, guys, for Saturday. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Share what we're doing at JEDIOSHI. Follow me on Twitter. Send a DM if you'd like access to Telegram, where we have a community of people learning to chart and learning to trade. And we talk about charts and ideas and everything and what we're doing for our development. And it's pretty exciting. So again, thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the video, and we'll see you next time.